Hi, I'm Chris Holmes. I'm a United Methodist pastor and I'm a leadership coach. And as a leadership coach, what I do is I come along beside leaders in our denomination, from bishops to pastors and laity, and help them be the kind of leader that they intend to be and that God is calling them to be. So I help those leaders get clearly focused on what they need to be spending their time doing, what they feel they need to be spending their time doing, to set really clear objectives, and then to develop an action plan for moving forward with those plans. This video is to share with you some of the aspects of the coach approach to ministry when it is applied to our work with congregations. It's meant for pastors and laity and for denominational leaders. Because I believe that there is a tremendous shift that is getting ready to happen in the ways that we lead congregations. And I believe it means that we are going to be much more highly relational, deeply intentional, and always contextual. That is the coach approach to ministry. And what I'm finding is that highly effective leaders of congregations are using those coaching skills, the basic skills of coaching, in their ministry, and using them well. So a coach is someone who comes beside another person and helps them get where they want to be, helps them move from point A to point B. It's all about the forward action in their life, and it's grounded in the term of transportation of a coach. You know, years ago, if you were at point A and you wanted to move to point B, and you either walked there or you rode a horse or you got in a carriage, right? Or a coach. And that coach would take you from where you were to the next place, to where you want to be. Soon after that, gymnasts started to use the term coach for those persons that they hired when they reached a certain level of proficiency in their sport, and then they wanted to become even better. They would hire a coach to help them get there to that next level. And from that developed the whole profession of sports coaches and coaching that's used in many different ways in all kinds of aspects of life. My suspicion is that many of the church members who are sitting in pews are yearning for pastoral leaders who are willing to come beside them like a coach would and to help them move more fully into the ministry of the laity. It's like the layperson who said to their pastor, you know, I wish you were more like my trainer at the gym, who helps me set really clear goals and expand those goals and cheers me on and helps me reach the goals that I set. And this person said, that's exactly what I need in my spiritual life. I need someone to work with me to help set very clear goals associated with my living out my faith, and someone beside me then to push me some and to cheer me on. Let's begin with some of the definitions of coaching that are floating around that I think are helpful. The first one I've already mentioned, and that is a coach is someone who helps a person move from where they are now to where they want to be. There's another very good definition that comes from Gary Collins, who says that coaching is the art and the practice of guiding a person or a group from where they are toward the greater competence and fulfillment that they desire. Also, Linda Miller and Chad Hall say Christian coaching is a focused, Christ-centered relationship that cultivates a person's sustained growth and action. You know, some of the words that those definitions have in common are focus, coming along beside someone, and all of them in some way speak about action. We say in coaching, if it doesn't move toward action, if it's not about moving forward toward action, it's not coaching. Here are some of the benefits of coaching, beginning with self-discovery. What the coach does in the coaching relationship is help the person they're coaching go deeper and explore parts of themselves and ideas and directions that they may not have explored before. We use questions and a process that we call dancing in the moment, and that is to show up and be present in a way that is a natural kind of movement in the coaching conversation that helps the person we're coaching go deeper and discover more about themselves. Another benefit of coaching has to do with expanding the possibilities. Too often in life we center in on only one course of action or only one possibility. You know, I'm gonna be a teacher, and that's just what I'm gonna be. And the coach's role is to kind of help that person open that up and explore some other possibilities. Well, that's great. You want to be a teacher. What else have you ever thought about being? Well, I thought about being a pilot, but, well, let's consider that. Now, what else have you thought about? And to enlarge the thinking and the range of what is possible around a person's life, and then help that person intentionally choose a perspective and move forward from that place. Also in coaching, we talk about action. It's action-oriented. We help, which means that we move from that point of self-discovery and exploration to actual action plans that are specific, that have timelines, that have measures associated with them, so that a person can feel the satisfaction of moving forward, and also know that they're moving toward what God is calling for in their life, that bigger vision that God has for them. We also help people take calculated risks. That is, we push the envelope a little bit, help them stretch in terms of what they're committing to, because we believe in the bigger self. Even if a person starts playing small with what they're going to do with their life, we hold out for them the possibility that God has great things in store for them, and help them continue to expand, take calculated risks. What I've found in being a coach is that many of our pastors know what they need to do. They know some of the things that need to change to cause transformation in their churches. And what makes a world of difference is to have the coach come along beside them and actually cheer them on, help them get specific about where they're going, check in with them on a regular basis, and kind of be a partner in that change and in that forward movement, just to be more courageous. We also use support. The coach is always supporting the individual, even when they're falling down and not feeling at their best. We support, but we also and you balance that with accountability, and it's really accountability not to ourselves, not to the coach. We are holding the person we're coaching accountable to themselves, and just being a kind of a measure of accountability partner along the way to help them, even if they don't reach the goals that they're setting, to reflect on that, figure out why, and then set goals that they can move toward. In the last 5 years, there's been quite a bit written on the return on investment in coaching. That is, if you're a company owner and you spend $100,000 to hire so many coaches to coach your employees, you want to know what you're getting out of that and what difference that made. So there's research that's showing that if you spend that $100,000, you want to know at the end of it that the end product, whatever that is for you, is greater than what you invested in that $100,000. And what most organizations are finding is that investing in coaching has a tremendous kind of exponential outcome in the end result. For example, in new church start coaching. When a new church start pastor in that first 2 years is matched with a coach who walks alongside them and is right there to help them keep setting plans and moving forward, that pastor is much more highly likely to be successful in that new church start than someone who does not have a coach. There's also some research being done on what happens when you match learning with coaching. Because many of us who are pastors have been away, we go away to some event, some training event. We go to some mega church and we learn these new things. We go to the mountaintop and we come home and we're all pumped up and we got all this stuff to share. And actually what research shows is that when we go to that mountaintop, when we come back, there's an actual dip in the result. Because everybody back home who we work with knew we were going to this conference, and they know that, oh my God, here Chris is coming back with this load of latest stuff he's learned to dump on us. And so there's this kind of, and you're behind in your email, all of that. Anyway, there's a dip in results at the very beginning when you get back from that kind of a learning event. But then what happens, a month into it, 2 months into it? You're all pumped up, and by then you have those great ideas that you brought home have kind of gotten lost in the tyranny of the urgent and all of those things that need to be done, and those really important things that you've learned kind of fall off the table. Well, what we found with coaching is that when you match a training event like that with a coach that comes alongside, the coach continues to ask those important questions, even as life gets busy and when you get back home. And those really kind of God-sized things that you have learned and want to bring back to your congregation keep bubbling up in the conversation with a coach. And you develop some concrete action plans about how to move forward with those things. It's important to understand the snapshot of the spectrum of coaching, from life coaching to very content-driven coaching. Life coaching, on one end, says, what do you want coaching on? You set the agenda as the person being coached. So it could be your relationship with your new puppy. It could be losing weight. It could be a professional goal that you have. Wide open, whatever you want. That's life coaching. On the other end is highly prescriptive coaching that is tied to metrics and certain benchmarks and specific things that need to happen. Very often new church start coaching is closer toward that end of the spectrum. But right in the middle is kind of a happy blend of the two, is content-rich coaching, and that is coaching that brings a focus to the conversation, like a coaching call with a group of pastors and their coach might be on disruption. What do you need to be disrupting in the life of your congregation so that what God really intends to have happen there begins to happen? And so that would form the context of the conversation. Now, where it goes from there would be up to the persons on the call. And so it brings a focus to the call, but there's also a lot of openness in terms of where the conversation goes. So there's this spectrum, and a lot of the coaching being done in our denomination right now is in that middle perspective. I want to say a little bit about what coaching is not, because we are used to mentors in our denomination. We do a lot of mentoring, and that's very important. I've been a mentor. I think we could use a lot more mentoring. However, the mentor is the one who brings the expertise, right? If you're mentoring me, you're the one who has the body of knowledge and the experience, and you're going to share that with me, and I'm in the receiving mode and you're in the sharing mode. You're the expert. The coaching relationship is different in that the coach is not the expert. the coach is the expert in their coaching skills, but not in your realm. And so they know to ask the kinds of questions that help you explore your own expertise in your own context. You are the expert in your own context. If you're a layperson in a congregation, you are an expert in that situation and what needs to happen. If you're the pastor of that church, you know innately, deep down there, you got a sense of what needs to happen. So mentoring is bringing expertise from the outside. Coaching is kind of a excavation of that, an uncovering of that expertise that is already within. That's also how coaching is different from consulting. A consultant brings in, you pay them to bring in ideas or a plan or suggestions from the outside. Coaching allows those ideas to bubble up from the person who's being coached. Training is much the same way. Training comes in from the outside, and it's a pedagogical tool that helps the teacher share certain things with the students. They're not side by side, where coaching is side by side. Also, coaching is not therapy or counseling. This is the big difference. If I'm your therapist and we start talking, we may talk about how things are for you now, but it also may go backwards into your life. We may talk about, has this happened before, and how did your relationship with your parents affect this, and sometimes it's very important. We all need to do that. My gosh, we probably all need to be in therapy for years. Some of us more than others. But coaching starts with where you are in the moment, and asks the question, what do you want to be different? As you move forward, what do you want to be different in your life? So you're really starting at point A, and if it starts to go backwards, I'm going to try and bring you back to where you are in the moment and help you begin to articulate and envision and plan for specifically the future that you are embracing and that you're feeling called to. Coaching is also not spiritual direction, though I would say that coaching's closest cousin in the helping profession is spiritual direction. And in fact, many spiritual directors actually take a coach-like approach. The difference is slight. There's going to be more conversation about where God is in your life and spiritual direction, how your spiritual disciplines are playing out. Slightly more in that direction with spiritual direction. Coaching is going to be slightly more tilted toward action. What are your plans? What are you going to do? By when? How will I know? So I've said what coaching is not. Let me say what coaching is. Coaching is holy work. Relationship with Jesus Christ actually leads toward life transformation, right? A change in life, transformation of life. We believe the same thing about coaching. Coaching leads toward a transformed life. And so the end desire of a coaching relationship is a transformed life. And that's what makes the work of coaching at the very root holy work. Those of us who are Christian coaches also believe that where Christ is present, surely there is, where there are two of us, there's a third. The Holy Spirit is present also with us. And so we trust that Holy Spirit to move through the questions, through the answers, through that whole dance of coaching in such in a way that God is a part of the unfolding of the coaching and also where the coaching winds up. So it's not that Christian coaching only focuses on God. It honors the fact that God is the center of a coaching relationship.